What's up, y'all? Welcome to the More Than the Coach podcast. And tonight I got a very special guest on tonight. I'm gonna be bringing to you Miss Sheila Little. She's the co-founder and the CEO of I Am Shaping Solutions. She's a clinical therapist, business psychologist. Her mission is to help individuals and businesses to achieve their full potential. So, y'all, tonight I want to give a big shout out and bring on Miss Sheila Little to the More Than a Coach podcast.
Hello,
How you doing
everyone.
tonight?
Hey, everyone. Hey, Marshall, Coach Marshall.
Oh yeah. Oh, you all right? Well, first off, I want to welcome you to the More Than a Coach podcast and let you know it's an honor to have you on the show tonight.
Thank you.
As we was just talking, it's my third season, and you're the first female that I had on my show.
And I
So
appreciate that.
welcome, and I appreciate it. So we take this time. If you want to start, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, so, I'm from Saginaw, Michigan, born and raised. And I've been a therapist for 17 years, 19 years if you count the internships. And currently I own my own business, Shaping Solutions. But I think essentially I help people I remind people, and I know this kind of sounds cliche, but I kind of remind people of the person that God created them to be,
Mhm.
and I do that through, or if it's their business, I kind of help them realize whatever that vision is for themselves. And I do that, a couple of ways. I do that through therapy, right? So as a therapist, I help heal some areas in individuals' lives. But moreover, the current work that I do is as a coach, right? So as a synergy coach, where I integrate a lot of therapeutic techniques. I have a trademark framework called Stop It Now, where I help
Mm.
people stop doing the things that's preventing them from getting to their goal. Um,
Okay.
and, then I help businesses with, developing the processes and structures and things like that to really align, advance, and accelerate their businesses. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's cool. So what made you go into doing social work?
What made me go into this work? I grew up in lack, right? So I grew up in a
Hmm.
community. There's a lot of lack, was on food stamps. And so I always had this desire to help people. I was like, I just want to help people. But more than that, I wanted my life to look different, right? So I
Hmm.
always had this thing where it was like, it's not going to be my life. Like, I'm not going to have food stamps. So a part of the saving or helping was me, right? Not being a statistic, really wanting to actualize my full potential. And so, I started doing hair, and then I transitioned and got a master's and, became a very academic person. And then I became a therapist. And therapy was cool. It was cool, helping people, but I was helping a lot of people who had severe mental health disorders. And that was
Mm.
really stressing me out, Coach Marshall, because along with that, I had personal family members that was going through a lot of that stuff. And
Yeah.
so I just saw mental health everywhere. So I
Mm.
kind of resigned from that and I started working at Delta College as a counselor.
Okay.
When I started working at Delta, I just realized that normal people have problems, right? Trying to accomplish their goals. And it wasn't these big meltdowns. It wasn't these big, severe depressive disorders that was keeping people in a bed. It was the anxiety about passing a test. It was the
Mm.
depression because I just broke up from a relationship. And those people reflected my struggles, right?
Mm.
My limitations, the limitations that I had to overcome. And so as a consequence of being that counselor, I started Shaping Solutions, and the name says it for itself. I
Mm.
help people shape the solutions in their lives, right? So you have a problem, let's shape this, right?
Mhm.
Um, and each person has a unique shape, right? A unique way that their life, their narratives, their stories need to be shaped. And so that is what compelled me to do this work.
That's all right. I wish I would have needed you a couple weeks ago when I started this new journey in my life. You know, you talk
Right.
about that anxiety,
Yeah.
man. I'm
And
like,
it's
I'm 53
normal,
years
right?
old.
So I think that's so one of the things that I do in my work, and I had to learn that life is about emotions, right? Like I
Mhm.
think that we have, especially if you grew up in in communities that really didn't give you permission to feel, right? I know me, I got a whooping, right? If I felt too much,
All
like
the
you
time.
feeling too much, you crying too much, you in trouble, right? And so those type of upbringings, as adults, now we have this good and bad emotion, right? Like, I don't
Mhm.
want to feel anxious. I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to feel angry. Like, I want to feel happy, right? So we
Right.
judge these emotions. And so when we go into new situations like new jobs or, have a conflict with our mate or something like that, now we start to feel this anxiousness or this depression or whatever that feeling is. And it's like,
Mhm.
oh, something bad is happening. And we retreat from that emotion. We shut down, right? Which what we don't realize is that we're actually not growing and we're not moving with the emotion. And that's what's stopping us from attaining the goals or even having the relationships or the life that we really want, because we don't know how to really manage the emotions as they come up, because
Mhm.
we've been trained that that's bad. I shouldn't feel this way. And I
Mhm.
mean, I hear it a lot. People say the heart is the most deceptive thing, and, don't trust your feelings and go with your thoughts. And yes, it is a level to that. But moreover, you have to have a relationship with this emotion before we can discount it. And a lot of us just don't even have relationships with emotions,
Mhm.
or we only know two or three emotions like sadness or anger or depression, right? We don't even know what happiness feels like, or, is this anxiety or is this excitement? We
Mhm.
don't really even know,
That's,
because we've only been in a relationship with a couple of emotions. That's what my family allowed me to feel: anger or
wow.
sadness. That's it,
Yeah, that's powerful there. Wow.
yeah.
So helping others has always been a dream of yours, man, since
It
you.
has. It has. Again, I think it was a projection because I didn't want it, right? I was like, I'm
Mhm.
gonna help people get out this situation. I think when we start off our businesses, it truly is a projection of like the lack we experience. And so we want to help the next person, or we want to use our life to, in some way, change that in somebody else's life so they don't have to experience it. And so, yes, that was it. Like, I felt like I wanted to be a doctor, even though I am in a doctoral program and I'm getting a PhD in business psychology. When I said I wanted to be a doctor, I only knew one type of doctor at that time, and that was a doctor in the hospital. I didn't even know that there was a doctor of psychology or a doctor of philosophy, right? I just
Mhm.
thought it was a doctor, and that person gave you
Mhm.
medicine, right? So,
That's it. Too.
so then I found out, like, oh, you can still be a doctor. And so I'm, doctor of business psychology.
That's
Yeah.
good. And I know you get a big help when you at home when you got to work with some of your boys, because I know that middle one of yours.
Yeah, yeah.
He a
So
challenge.
what it I didn't hear what you said. What did you say?
I was saying I know you get a lot of experience and help practicing with that middle son of yours, the one that I
Oh
coach.
yeah. He's always been, and anybody who knows my son Khalil, they know, like, he's always been unique and
Mhm.
very independent, very forward thinking, very, he started walking. Like, we tried to teach him how to walk, and one day he just got up and started walking, and it was just like, okay, are you walking? He didn't talk for a long time. The first thing he said was, give me a glass. Like, I'm like, you don't even talk, how are you making sentences? So he's
Wow,
always done things at his own time when he wanted to do it.
that's
But
good.
I love that though
Mhm.
too. It irks me. It
Yeah,
gets to me sometimes, but I love that he has this spirit that I can sometimes see as resistant, but it's for him. It's like what works for him. So
and you know I had to learn that from him because one day I asked him, I said, "Why do you challenge me every time I say something?" And he was like, "I'm not challenging you. I'm just asking because I want to know." And the
mhm,
other day we was in the gym and I sat down with him. I said, "I guess I learned a lot from you this year." And he was like,
mhm,
"What you mean?" I said, "Well, remember what you told me when you always challenge me?" I said, "Now I learn to read people first before I assume and just
mhm.
come straight out at them." I said, "You taught me something." And then he
Aw.
was like, "Yeah, that's what I do." Because I call him Dr. Khalil, 'cause that's my guy, though.
Yeah. I think that what you just said is what we all do in some type of way, right?
Mm,
We will, I would say, perceive the situation as like a challenge or whatever, and not really truly understanding like what that person's intention is. And
mhm,
I think that's a part of our emotions too, right? I'm
mm,
feeling a way and I'm responding to this feeling that's happening versus inquiring and being curious about you. I just felt
mhm.
the way and I'm gonna respond to my feeling and not really manage that feeling and have some curiosity about you and what you're saying, or even the environment or whatever. So that's huge.
Yeah, that's big. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
huge. That's huge.
Hmm. So, if you can give somebody some advice on being a life coach on here tonight, so they can follow up more with you later, what would you tell them now?
So if I had to give somebody some advice, um, one, my number one advice is that life is an appetite, and when I say that, what I mean is that I think that we think once I get happy, I'm gonna be happy,
Hmm.
once I make $1 million, I'm gonna get it right. So we have these very much in goals, and once I get there, then I don't have to go through this stuff anymore. When I say
Okay.
life is an appetite, I'm saying, hey, you know how you ate today and you got full? You know,
Hmm.
like, you understand that your body is going to digest that food. And so when you get hungry tomorrow, you ain't thinking about the food you ate now, right?
Hmm.
You going to feed it again.
Hmm.
Life is like that. It's hungry. Like, it's looking for you to give it something. So when you're feeling sad or anxious, that's just your body saying, hey, I need some encouragement right now. Hey, I need some confidence right now. Hey, I need some reassurance. I need some energy or something like that. Those what we call lower emotions is really like your stomach growling, right? Like your stomach
Okay.
telling you, hey, I need this thing. But because we don't have a relationship with that, we think, oh, I'm sad. And then
Hmm.
we'll start a story about why I'm sad. Oh, I
Mm.
must be sad because, my light bill came, or I must be sad because old boy ain't called me back, or I must be sad because of this. When no, you might just be sad because you haven't done a happy thing in 7 days because you've been working all day. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
That's true.
so my first advice would just be to take life as it comes and make sure that when those emotions come, see them as appetites too. Like your stomach
Mhm.
is hungry, like those emotions are triggers to tell you, because there's no good or bad emotion. They're just
Yeah.
there to let you know, like, hey, I need this, right?
Mhm.
So that would be the first thing. Take away the in, once I get there, because I mean, we can see it with people who's been successful. They move on and they do other stuff. Why?
Mm.
Because they can't just sit down. We are naturally co-creators in this life. We want to
Mhm.
create experiences. We want to create opportunities. Like, we naturally want to be creating, if that's in conversation, if that's in exchanges in our relationship. So we want to be moving our energy, and that's what
Mm.
emotion is: energy in motion. Okay.
Wow.
um the second thing I think that I would encourage people to do is self-love, right? Have some self-love for yourself.
Yeah.
Now, when I say self-love, I want to kind of go into what this means. So we have this thing called self-care, right?
Mhm.
That's me getting my nails done. Those are the pictures that we see on Facebook when it's like, I got to take care of myself. Self-love is really the conversation you having with yourself in your head.
Mm.
How are you talking to yourself about your mistakes? How are
Okay.
you talking to yourself about your accomplishments? And a lot of us have what's called an annihilator, right? Like, we never feel like we're good enough. We're always placing the blame on ourselves. So we are our worst enemy in our mind, not in our
Mhm.
actions, but what we're telling ourselves, right? So I would encourage people to start to practice self-love. Start to tell yourself and be your best friend in your
Mhm.
mind, not in your actions, not in the bag you have or the car you drive or the house you live in, but in those conversations when you laying down in your bed. Like,
Yeah.
what are you telling yourself? Are you saying, good job, good day?
Mm.
We fumbled, but we gonna get back up again tomorrow and do this thing again, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is a conscious decision to do that,
Okay.
right? Because you naturally gonna have the rattle in your mind. That was stupid. Why did you say that? Right? You naturally finna have all of those voices come in. So
Mm.
you have to be the kind of parent and come in and be like, you know how the kids arguing with each other. You got the one
Yeah.
kid that's going in on the other kid. And so as the
Mm-hmm.
parent, you got to come in and be like, say you sorry. And,
Yep.
now say this thing, right? So we have to really learn how to parent those voices in our head and come in as the parent to say the things that we need to hear. We
Okay.
want it. We just want you to say it. I want you to tell me that. Like, I don't
Mm.
want to say that. I want you to tell me I'm enough. I want you to tell me I'm beautiful. I want you to tell me I did a good job. Here's the
Mm-hmm.
thing, Coach Marshall. Even if I told you, if you don't believe it,
That's right.
right? So you
Yeah.
got to practice saying it first. And then when I say it, now we in agreement. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Oh yeah.
And that is just so important to me. So first of all, life is an appetite. 2, self-love. And 3 is heal, you
Okay.
know, really heal. My favorite movie is the movie with Common Sense and Queen Latifah.
Um, man, what's the name of that movie? I know what you're talking about.
It
Basketball
ain't
movie.
love. I was going to say love, but it ain't Love and Basketball. But whatever the name of that movie is, I love this movie. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why I love this movie, if you guys know the movie, Queen Latifah is like the physical therapist. Common
Yep.
is a basketball player. He breaks his leg, right? Now, he breaks his leg. His girlfriend gets jealous, right? And she brings Queen Latifah in to help him heal his leg.
Yep.
But what Queen Latifah did for Common is what? She healed his mind.
Okay.
She healed
One
his ability. Because do
one
you
I guess
remember? Huh?
I'll say tell you one I guess just named it is called Just Right.
Just right. Yes.
When our
Just
viewers
right.
sent that in to us.
Just right. So she healed his mind first. Because you remember he was sitting on the couch and he
Mm-hmm.
couldn't push himself past his pain. And she just kept encouraging him, like, you can do this. She took him back to the park, really healed his mind
Mm-hmm.
before she started to get him to heal his body. So
Yeah.
guess what? When he started to question his body, what did she tell him when he got on the court? You can do this. Trust
Mm-hmm.
yourself, right? But
She
she
encouraged
started
her.
building that with him in the beginning. So this healing thing is we got to heal our minds first before we go and break this and approach the brokenness in our relationships, these physical brokenness that we have. We really got to switch our mindset, and heal that and learn to trust ourselves and learn to communicate with ourselves and even know that healing is a process, right? Like it's you always in the healing process, but you want to
Mm-hmm.
be in that process of healing mentally so that you can have the the fortitude, the tenacity that is going to require you emotionally to
Mm-hmm.
handle the goals that you want to have, to be able to accelerate in life, right? Because all
Yep.
that stuff is emotional. And Coach Marshall, a lot of times, and this dealing with kids,
Mm-hmm.
coaching, a lot of times people ain't doing what they supposed to do because they let their emotions get in the way.
Man, big time.
You know what I
Big.
mean?
That's true.
You know, so a big thing for me is teaching people emotional intelligence. That's the undergirth of my Stop and Now framework. That's that's the foundation of the work I do, right? Really
Mm-hmm.
teaching people emotional intelligence. What does that mean? How do I manage my emotions and be comfortable in this feeling and be able to still do the things that I need to do despite how I feel, right?
Mm.
I'm taking these emotions with me, right?
Yeah.
I'm not rejecting you. I'm not sending you to the corner. Like I'm doing this in my fear. I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
this in my anxiety, right? Because y'all are part of this experience too, right? So definitely, healing is a big part of the process. So,
Man.
heal, self-love, and know that life is an appetite.
Man,
Yeah.
and you said some great things, and that was going to part of one of my topic questions. What was one of the benefits of joining your master class? But I think you just explained it right there.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. So that stopping now framework is truly I worked on it for 2 years, right? Really just looking at all the work I was doing. And I was like, even when I was working with people, like I couldn't get them past a certain level, like it was like I would get stuck. And what I realized is it was another one of those programs, like what happened when you start to feel overwhelmed? We start to add more on our plate. We want to do more. We want to be more. We want to accomplish more, right? And so a big part of that stopping our framework is, what do I need to stop doing? You know, what do I need to stop saying to myself? What do I need to halt at in my life so that the nature, the divineness of life can be seen, right? What do I need to stop controlling? What do I need to stop judging, right? And so the whole stop and now thing is truly, the stop and now framework is truly based around helping us stop doing some things that's, preventing us from having the life we desire and deserve.
Wow, Sheila, you said some powerful things tonight. I gotta ask, who motivates you, or what motivates you besides? I know your family, but what else motivates you?
God, in a very sincere way, my relationship with God is like my biggest motivator, right? I had heard this story before about, like your soul knew everything it was going to go through before it got here. It knew that this was going to be your mama. It knew that this was going to be your boyfriend. It knew every experience that you was going to go through. Like, in a sense, God said, okay, let me show you your life. Now, can you do that? And you made an agreement with God and said, ain't nothing, none of that stuff is going to turn me away from you, right? And so you come into this life and you forget everything, right? You forget that story, right? And then you let the mama being absent, right, make you angry. And then you let the deaths and the losses, right, take you further and further away from God. And that story really brung me, it really brung hairs up in my body, because I'm like, well, if God know everything, he sent me here. My life has a purpose. So I must have got through this. You know what I mean? So let me stop thinking that anything outside of everything is working for my good. Let me stop thinking that, this person's trying to get down on me. Let me stop thinking that and really just move out the way and not even let nature take its place, let God take its place. So a big motivation for me is my relationship with God, and just knowing that I have a purpose, and that purpose is not to be like a coach. My purpose can be to be a mom one minute, to be a friend the next minute, to be the person that give you $2 at the register because, you know what I mean? Because you needed $2. Like, I don't see that life as this big, what is my divine purpose? And, my purpose is whatever the moment calls me for, and I'm able to give from my place of abundance, right? Not from lack. If I ain't got $2, I'm sorry. I see you need it, but I ain't got it, right? But if I got it and the situation calls for that, then let me give it, So that's my biggest motivation. My second biggest motivation.
That's all right. Take your time, because you're talking tonight. I like that.
I talk a lot. Did you know that?
No, you helping us though. While you talking, you teaching and helping people right now.
Yeah, I talk. My second, is it okay that I talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
That's why I got you on here.
My second motivation is myself. I say I only get one life. You know what I mean? Might as well make the best out of it. And, I say either life is a lesson or a blessing. So I can't get it wrong. Either I learn from it or it bless me, and that motivates me to get up and do it all over again. I've walked away from houses and relationships and, been broke and had money and been broke again. And none of that has truly just, it's just like, okay, well, we can breathe. So we're going to get up and we're going to it ain't even fight another battle. We gonna wake up and look for the opportunity that today gonna bring.
That's right. Live another day.
Yeah.
That's cool though. There's some powerful things. So where can my listener and the people that's viewing find more information about you?
Well, they can follow me at I Am Shaping Solutions. That's on all social media handles, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Shaping Solutions on YouTube. And then you could just do www.sheilalittle.com. That's my website. I have a gift, like a 31-day affirmation. So to me, language is powerful. So if you want to enroll into my 31-day affirmation, you'll get an affirmation every day. And that's the last thing I'm gonna say. We got to upgrade our language. A part of loving ourselves is having a language to love ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And so the intention of that affirmation challenge is to really introduce us to new ways to see ourselves. And so I do that. You get it in your email every day, a new affirmation. So, and that's at SheilaLittle.com.
Okay, so y'all make sure y'all check that out. The website is very informational and it tells a lot. So I'm gonna have to join that class myself.
Yeah. And then we always have the Stop It Now frame, the Stop It Now program. That's a evergreen. So you can just go through that program by yourself. And I do coaching. I'm open for coaching and therapy clients. I do my interviews to see if you're a fit. If you're a fit, we let you in.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna ask a question that I ask a lot of my listeners. I mix it up depending on who it is or my guest. I'm sorry, but it's when your time is up on this earth, how do you want to be remembered?
Oh, the way God said I was made beautifully and wonderfully made. That's very. How do I want to be remembered? I think beautifully and wonderfully made. That's what came up in my spirit.
That's deep.
Yeah, in beauty, not in my physicalness, but in my interaction with you. You know what I mean? Like, even if I failed you, if I did something to offend you, how did I, compensate for that? Was I apologetic? Did I address that? Did I take accountability, for that? So more in my exchanges, right? Wonderful is, for me, what I've been able to do coming from poverty, right? Having nothing, only one pair of shoes, and creating and shaping my life in a way where if I want something today, I can go get that, right? I think that's wonderful, right? To have this life where you can call the shots and be so aligned in your truth, and okay that people don't like that, and okay with the people who do like that. I think that's a wonderful experience. So definitely beautifully and wonderfully made. That's
wow. Hey, I think that's a powerful and a great way to end this session right here. You hit it. I want to thank you tonight for coming on, blessing me and blessing my listeners and viewers on the More Than
Thank you
Coach
so much.
podcast.
Thank you so much.
It's an honor. And like you said, once again, they can reach out, contact you, check your website out, and go learn something about yourself.
Absolutely.
That self-care. That was
Absolutely.
big.
Absolutely. And if any of the entrepreneurs out there, melanated women, if you want to be a part of my research study, you can go to my Facebook page and click that and do in my dissertation, I'm looking at the relationship between procrastination and emotional intelligence. So if you guys want to be a part of my research, go and click that link and, help you, by doing this research. Help me. Yeah. So if you want to be a part of my study, go there. It's on my Facebook page.
All right. And I'm gonna definitely share this on all my platforms so people gonna hear it, get the word out, and hopefully they come flooding in for you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Again, thank you, Coach Marshall, for having me on. Thank you for being a mentor to my son. Thank you for doing this for the ladies. And really giving us a voice to be able to speak to a community that probably don't know what we're doing. I think males, I love my males, you know what I mean? I think that really getting out of that stigma of getting help, getting therapy, talking about your emotions is just so important, right? You guys are the leaders of our community. So I really, thank you for allowing me to speak and to your audience in a way that hopefully it resonated with them.
Yeah, and definitely we appreciate you, and I'm very appreciative. I was nervous coming in, But hey, you set me down and made me welcome and ease my little stress levels too. So I appreciate you tonight.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you guys.
All right, you have a good night. And
You too.
thanks again for coming on the More Than the Coach podcast.
Oh, no problem.
All right, good night.
All right.
As y'all see, had a great interview tonight with Miss Sheila Little on the More Than the Coach podcast. It was great information. She taught a lot tonight. A very strong woman. I hope y'all learned a lot. That's all I can say. You know, I'm a little lost the words because it was a great interview, and hopefully this not just first and the last bringing sisters on the podcast, giving these positive words of encouragement. And you know, with that being said, hold up, I think she came back. Let me see. Oh, okay, she good. She good. All right. But also too, the night before I get out of here, as always, I got to give a big shout out to Pastor Elvin Owens from the Heart Ministries church with his Faith Over Fear Back to School shoe drive. So y'all please make sure y'all step up, help out the pastor as he trying to raise 500 pair of shoes for kids so they can go back to school in some brand new kicks. So y'all make sure y'all reach out to Pastor Elvin Owens and Faith Over Fear Back to School shoe drive. And as well as always, got to give a shout out to my sponsors tonight. Beautifully Just Being Me, Miss Joya Marshall with her hair and beard oil, her face cream. So y'all check her out. My guys, D Media, always out here catching the media out here in our city. Good job, my brother. Keep doing what you do. And to my man, Reggie Baldwin at Baldwin Multimedia, thank y'all for all y'all support. I appreciate y'all for being a big supporter of the More Than the Coach podcast. And with that being said, everyone, y'all have a good night. And I'll see y'all next week. Don't know who the guest is yet because I got about 3 on want to be on, so I got to make sure which one I'm going to come in here tonight. But until then, this your boy, Coach Marshall. Y'all have a good night. Peace. Hey, what's up, y'all? This your boy, Coach Marshall. Tune in weekly for the More Than the Coach podcast. Peace.